So the topic for this week is authenticity. What is authenticity? Authenticity is that space, that vibration of connecting to who you truly are, your most real version of you, despite all the things that have happened to you in your life. That vibration of you, that expression of you that is so real, so raw, so vulnerable, that is authenticity. And throughout our lives, we are taught many things, and we can become very blocked in many ways, that we actually move away from our authenticity, our authentic selves, and we almost put on different masks, different faces, different roles. We become different characters in our life to fit into different situations, because that's the safety place that we feel we fit in, and we adapt to that around us. And authenticity, when we connect to it again, after years of doing this role switching, this, becoming the different characters in this game of life, we sometimes just stop and pause and just feel our internal world and almost witness it from an outside perspective, like someone watching your life play out, and you see in your life how you have evolved into who you are today, and you see that with love and compassion and non-judgment and gentleness, and you can see that golden thread of authenticity and how it has almost derailed or moved or shifted, and how acting from these other roles and not being your authentic self may have led you down the wrong path in your life, or multiple wrong paths. We say wrong, but everything happens for a reason, and everything is divine, and everything is a lesson. But ultimately, in this life, we are meant to always come back to remembering who we truly are. And that is what this life is about. Everything around us is a mirror. Everything is a reflection back within ourselves. And authenticity is such a powerful thing, because when we start to live our lives through our authentic expression, that higher expression, that version of us that is true and vulnerable, and it gives you this calm, safe feeling, when you're tapping into your authentic nature, your inner child, your realness, your rawness, and your heart center is that space, your heart, the love that you have, that is your authenticity. And we can very much act in this life through non-authentic expression, and that is when different blockages in the body becomes the voice that comes out of us. Our authenticity is our way of expressing ourselves, and we are here to be an expression of ourselves. We can either be an expression of ourselves that is authentic or not authentic, and it's just finding where we are right now with love and compassion, and seeing it and asking ourselves, is this really truly where I'm meant to be right now? Is this really what I want to be? Is this really what my higher self has planned for me? And just breathing into that space and sitting with that awareness, with no judgment. And this is what I've been doing over the past many years, is just really tapping into my authentic expression, and my higher self has been guiding me into that. Every time I step out of my authentic expression, I start to get depressed. I start to do things that are not aligned with who I truly am, and I start to act out of an ego rather than a higher self and a space that, you know, I can feel is clearly benefiting myself and those around me. And the ego self, when we act out of the ego, it's self-serving, whereas the authentic self serves a greater purpose and is part of the collective, the ecosystem that is going to self-sustain and impact and create magic. And so I just invite you to become aware of your authenticity, your authentic self, what that means to you. And, you know, sometimes we don't necessarily have to always express, and that's the problem with expression, is we don't always connect to that expression first with ourselves and become fully aware and present with it, and then we will, you know, speak out and say things and do things that aren't meant to or not ready to be vocalized. And there is so much power in our voice. When we realize how much power there is in our voice, in our expression, in what we say, in what we do, in how we speak to ourselves and how we speak to each other, we will see how important it is to practice that pause, practice that introspection, feel into it, ask ourselves the question, how is this that I'm about to share going to impact those around me? How does it impact me? What perspective does it create for me, for others to see me as? What am I saying to myself every day? What is the mind saying? What is the heart saying? And just really feeling that and practicing that every single day. It's a moving meditation, it's a practice daily. You know, we sometimes get lost and then we find ourselves again, and that's all part of the journey. There's no right or wrong, there's just, you know, aligned and unaligned. And through our authenticity we can then become aligned again. And I invite you to reflect on that concept today and this week. And if anything arises for you, you know, where you feel deeply that this message, you have a message to share that's in relation to this topic, and you sat with it, you felt it, you feeling it as something that's higher guidance, that is not attached to any ego or trauma or anything that, you know, you might need to sit with and internalize more before you express. It's not self-serving, but it's a place of, wow, okay, this message is you know, it's for the world. And you can always feel that difference. You can feel whether something is ready to be expressed or not. And your intuition, the more we become in tune with our authenticity, the more we become in tune with our intuition. And our intuition is so subtle. It is so revolutionary and subtle and gentle, and it's our guide. And the more we step out of our authenticity, the more our intuition also stops being a voice in our life. It slowly backs off because it feels like, okay, you're clearly not listening. So yeah, that is the topic for this week, authenticity. I invite you to feel into your own unique, authentic expression. See it in your life, in your day-to-day. How are you expressing yourself, to your people around you? How are other people around you expressing to you? And how does that make you feel? And yeah, just awareness of that is a huge step into stepping into our authentic expression. So thank you, and I hope that you enjoyed this and enjoy this topic of authenticity. It is beautiful and pure. I wanted to say pure and beautiful in one word. Beautiful. Enjoy your day, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye for now.